viewers and subscribers. Welcome to another episode. People, in today's episode, we want to talk about the township potential, what the townships could become, and why the townships are the way they are, and the reasons keeping them in the state that they are, right? Or the possible reasons. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler. People, have you ever gone to a township, looked around, saw the poverty, felt sorry, thought, damn, how can people live like this? You look at all the degradation, the filth, the rubbish, the water, the loudness, the rudeness, the drunkenness, the carefreeness, the broken roads, the water leakages, the sewage running, uncontrolled, inhumane conditions, and just like a free for all, do whatever you please, whatever you want, whenever you want kind of environment. Well, that's the perception, that's the reality that townships, most townships, unfortunately characterize, and those are the things that most people from outside townships see. And that's what also people who reside in townships, that's what they see on a daily basis. So when we're looking at the township from that lens, then you obviously look at it from a point of no hope, because it's like, well, these people live in squalor, they enjoy living in the squalor, they thrive in the squalor, so let's leave them in the squalor, right? Then something hits you, you kind of like think, no, wait a minute. How about if we did something to improve? Well, let's show the light here. Uh, what if we did something to improve the township, right? What if we actually looked at it with a different lens? You know, how would how would that pan out, right? Then it dawned on me, right, that the townships are actually business hubs just waiting to happen. So I looked at the taxi industry, for example. The taxi drivers and the taxi bosses turned that business into a $1 billion industry, 2 billion to be precise. Then we look at the ladies and the spaza shops. Those people are making billions, right? There are people thriving in the townships, not even leaving the townships for that matter. So I've been thinking, people leave the townships for opportunities in the suburbs and everything, right? And which is normal, right? Because not everyone is an entrepreneur. Not everyone can be. Not everybody wants to be. Not everybody got the heart for it. And not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Then, if you look at companies, companies are downsizing, companies are retrenching, companies are restructuring, companies are replacing people with robots and AI and computers, and you just name it. Companies are outsourcing. I mean, nowadays, apps and this, where you outsource work that used to be dedicated by someone with a salary and a retirement fund and all this. So all that's falling away. Now they're just outsourcing and they pay a person per job, right? And these are things that we need to take into consideration for everybody, not just the townships. But then it dawned on me that the townships are actually the source of South Africa's hidden wealth. Because when you look at the townships from the onset, right? or from a bird's eye view, you just see the poverty. That's all you see. But when you go deep into the townships, when you really go door to door into these townships, you will find that there are people that are not living a poverty life at all. I mean, yes, there are people living in low cost housing, there are people living in shacks, but the quality of life that they're living is not reflected in the type of housing that they are occupying. You would assume a low cost house, the occupants in a low cost house have or has a low cost income. You'd be shocked to know that in a low cost house, there could be a household income of about 50 to 60, even 80, 100,000 rand a month. These are the people that have the ability to extend and then build their flatlets in the yard, or able to buy a piece of land in the township and they build flatlets on their ground. So the potential of the township is there, but we need to harness it. Well, not we, but the government, right? Now, the townships are neglected because people just look at them like they downtrodden, poor, that and that and that, and forgotten people of society. And that's the fundamental mistake that the government is making. Because at the heart of the townships is money. Not just any type of money, but a lot of money. Now, obviously, the majority of the people that live in townships, I would think, are not living below the poverty line. I would definitely think that the majority are struggling. I definitely think that. I definitely know that. But at the same token, I know that there's a fair amount of people in the townships that have money. They may not have millions, but they surely have thousands to spare. Because one, the townships are heavily subsidized. Most of the businesses in the township, if I'm not mistaken, are not taxed. So most of those township entrepreneurs, the money they make is their money. Totally, they get to keep that 100%, right? So if we are armed with this knowledge, and the people in the townships are armed with this knowledge, right? Don't you think government would harness all that knowledge and then create some sort of a workable program that can then change, uplift the township? Because I'm thinking the overall goal of townships, right, would be to create independent states, so to speak, independent, sovereign, um, almost like almost like self-sustaining little Oranias, so to speak. Now, because the townships are almost kind of like cut off from suburbia, right? I would think the townships should actually come up with their own sort of currency, come up with their own sort of independent, um, uh, what am I looking for? Self-sufficient governing tools, self-sufficient governing bodies, independent like police forces, like little, they should, like almost like how, like an independent Orania, so to speak. But imagine townships having to, because taxi bosses wield a lot of power in the townships, right? So therefore, they would definitely have to play a governing role in the townships. So I would think the taxi bosses, for example, would come together, collude with the big businesses that are now operating in townships, like your ShopRites, your Pick and Pays. I know there's no Woolies in a township, but the sponsor shops are making lots of money as well. That's why they're there and they're milking it. So the taxi bosses, along with the big retailers that are operating in there, and the sponsor shop owners. Now these are the big players in the community, right? If these three people or groups came together, set up some sort of governing structure, right? To improve the conditions in the townships, put their monies and their heads together. I promise you, each and every township would be uplifted, poverty alleviated, and I can guarantee that if these people really were serious about improving the conditions in the township, that each and every township would be an independent Orania, so to speak. May not be to the exact levels of Orania, but at least they could be independent of government services, for example, right? Maybe not entirely off the grid, so to speak, when it comes to all the services. I mean, obviously, they're going to need the municipal services. They're going to need what you call it, electricity. Like the basics. They're going to need that, right? But what I'm saying is, there's so many people in the townships, and there's so much potential in the townships. The township people need not go out of the township to go and seek employment, to go and seek assistance, to go and anything. I mean, the townships have it all. They have hospitals, they have retail stores, they have the taxis, they have everything that forms the foundation of a thriving economy. And the townships have that. Now, I could be wrong, guys, but I just feel like there's a lot of potentials in the township. The danger aspect, all that can be brought under control if the communities work together, right? Like I'm saying, we all know the crime rate is out of control. We all know the extortion rings out of control. We all know, but all that is coming because the townships are chaotic, right? And no one, least of all, not even the government, are interested in trying to improve the townships. For some reason, townships are just left to their own devices. And what they're not noticing is that by doing that, crime is spilling over from desperate people in the townships to the suburbs, right? If you look at the majority of the crime that happens, you'll notice that if it's not happening in the townships, it's happening from people who come from the townships, going to look for better opportunities outside of the townships. I mean, for example, if you look at most areas, let's say the break-ins in Santon, it will be hard to think that it's people who live in Santon that are stealing in Santon, right? It will be very hard to believe that. I mean, if you look at any place that's close to a township, 100% of the time, it's mainly people who are not from that suburb and mainly from nearby townships that are causing the crime and the chaos in those suburbs. So that is what I'm saying. So to curb the spillover of the neglect in the townships that then translate into crimes happening elsewhere, the government and the local players need to play a role in the townships to curb that, to improve everyone's life and situation. So, for example, let's just say ShopRite and Pick and Pay, for example, right? Let's just say the two biggest retailers at the moment, right? Let's say they pledge, I don't know, 5 million rand a year to for safety and security in the townships. Let's just say they each pledge 5 million, 5 million. So 5 million will go for job creation, opportunity creation, and the other 5 million goes to security and safety in the townships, for example. Let's just say that, right? Just an example. Don't you think 5 million rand is a lot of money towards uniforms, towards batting sticks? May not be pistols and guns as such, but you know, like crime prevention things. Because one thing I do know is that criminals with guns do fear numbers. Like, yes, you will have a gun. You may shoot one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 19 people, but you cannot shoot an entire community. So when an entire community turns on you, pitches up at your house, the last thing you want to do is get your gun and shoot at them because you know that you are outnumbered. So if the townships could work with that mentality to say, let's work with the government, with the big retailers, the taxi owners, the spaza shop owners, and the community. It's a win-win situation for everybody. Least of all, the suburbs surrounding the townships where these young men go and steal from. You know what I'm saying? So if you improve the situation where they're coming from, or you improve the environment where they're coming from, there's no need for them to now go elsewhere to go and rob, steal, and that, because they know if they did that in their community, they'll be dealt with. So that's why they opt to go to the richer suburbs, the affluent, more affluent suburbs, right? So that is what I'm saying. The townships have the potential to become independent little states of their own, independent little areas, independent little um I'm trying to find the right word, autonomous regions, so to speak, autonomous regions of their own. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm dreaming, but for me, I really feel that the townships are the gold mines, the secret to unlock South Africa's real potential. Because I feel like the township is where talent is. Most people that do not have opportunities, who have skill sets, or who are prepared to get skilled training, to get but lack opportunities, and everything is there. So if we can harness the full potential of townships, I think South Africa will be on the right track. I'm almost 100% sure that a majority of people in the townships, given an opportunity to become entrepreneurs or ready to get skills to take into the workforce, whether to be outsourced or to be online or service providers in a way, given the necessary tools, help, and the training and skills, I promise you, the townships will be a hub of business that can help boost local economies, provincial economies, because a lot of potential is in the townships. And for some reason, the government is not seeing this. And that is a very big area of concern. And the government needs to look into this. That's what I really think. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. Was I on the money or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler.